Hello all, welcome back to my channel. So today there was an interesting topic which I read in the newspaper and which immediately compelled me to make this video. So what is this about? So we all know that there has been a lot of bribery scams, especially in the police. Everyone knows about it, no one talks about it, but it's kind of like common truth. Everyone knows that. But what happened was that one person, his mobile was snatched before he even went and met the police. Like they said that you're not allowed. You cannot take your mobile phones inside the chambers of the police officers. Okay. So he was surprised whether there is really a law, is there a regulation, is there an actual rule made by the government which is prohibiting this? Why my mobile is being confiscated? So it was his question. Why they are taking away my mobile phone before I even visit this particular police officer? So interestingly, he filed a RTI. So those who don't know what is RTI, RTI is right to information. So this, if at all you have any query in your mind and you want to seek answers, then RTI is the way to go, where you file a RTI query to the relevant court and ask for the answers, and the court will uphold the law, prevalent law. And the court replied to him saying that there is no law, as for like until now, there is no law saying that you cannot use mobile phones in the government offices. So there is a law for the staff members. So there is a difference. Okay, so I hope you understand this. There is a law for the staff members for not using the mobile phones during the work hours, because for obvious reasons, right? They will be more into the mobile phones and they will not be able to work. So that is the reason why for them it is, but not for the people who are visiting, not for the general public. There is no law like that. So the court told that there is no law like that. And this was very interesting topic, especially because this kind of answers a lot of questions, right? So why the mobile phones are being confiscated? Mainly, one, there might be something which is going on where they don't want to have any proof, right? They don't want to have any recordings. They don't want to have any kind of evidence of whatever they are doing, because they have been under the light for a very long time because of the PSI scams, and especially with the police recruitment scams and all those things. There were a lot of scams going around and they don't want to be under the light right now, and which is why they thought, okay, I can just make up my own law. You know, usually that happens, right? Especially if you don't know what is the law prevalent. That's the reason why they say that you should take an advocate or lawyer with you, because people will surpass anything saying that, hey, you cannot do this. You know, like they will surpass that and dictate the power, right? So that is kind of rampant. But for all those who wants to know what the law is, there is no law which is prohibiting the use of mobile phones. Okay, coming to like, I found an interesting case. I thought I will, let me just browse this and then I will tell you what it is. So there was an interesting case about especially using mobile phones for audio evidence. Okay, if anybody wants to create an evidence and they want to use their mobile phones and maybe they want to catch the corruption or bribery or anything of that sort, then you need to make sure that that there are certain conditions which was established by the Supreme Court, in especially the case Ram Singh and others versus Colonel Ram Singh. Okay, so there was a case which was it's a kind of like famous because it was a tape regarding the recorded statements. So there are certain conditions which is required for the recorded tape to be even admissible in the court. There are many cases on this. Okay, this is just one of the cases. If you even think about, there are multiple cases which actually, there was like one more case, I'm not able to remember the name, but it was some minister who was involved, and the lawyer successfully defended that the tapes are not, they're inadmissible in the court. So many might be thinking there is a actual like tape which is recorded, and why the court is not holding that? So there are rules for that, and I want to explain that rules so that if at all you are in a situation where actually you want to record, there is a corruption going on, bribery going on, and you want to take this step where you want to record that recordings and you want to present it to the court, I want you to be sure that I want you to make sure that that piece of tape is admissible. Okay, otherwise it will be a waste of time for you, and especially you will incur a lot of legal fees in this, and then the tapes will not be held admissible at all. Okay, so that's the reason why I want you all to be making sure that if at all you are making a tape which involves the recording of any bad elements which are going on, like bribery or corruption or something like that, the first and foremost thing is the voice of the speaker should be identified by the maker. That means when you are talking, you have to make sure that you are addressing that person and that person has to acknowledge it. So there must be a somebody, either somebody is recognizing the face, voice or something like that. There must be in the tape itself. Okay, otherwise there is no way that you can prove in the court that the voice is that person's, even though you know it and you have made the tape, but there is, that person may say that that's not my voice, because there is no reference to that person. So make sure that if at all if there is a tape like that, the voice of the speaker must be identified by the maker. That means the maker has to address the person and the person has to accept that he is that person. Okay, and also the other person, if at all there are 2 or 3 people, then in that case even that person also recognizes him. Okay, so it makes sure that that second step is just to make sure that there is no way of escaping that. But even just one person making sure that one person is addressing the maker of the tape is addressing the other person whom they are recording, that person has to be identified within the tape. That is the first point. Okay, second is the accuracy of the tape recorded should be proved by the maker either by direct or circumstantial. So that person has to prove in the tape itself what exactly is bothering that person and what that person is responding. Everything has to be recorded in one tape. There cannot be bits and pieces. There cannot be 2-3 tapes joined. That is not admissible. Okay. Next one is every possibility of tampering, like for example, if there is any kind of modulation or if there is any disturbance or any kind of where you might feel that somebody has tampered. Sometimes what has happened is many a times in many cases they have used the interviews, right? So the interviews, whatever they talk, they just take that tape and then they mix it up and they do some. They try to pass it off as evidence. So those things and all can be found out because of the distortion, where there is like sudden change in the background noise, or so all this, like these are all forensics. They are they're much detailed, and it has to go through in a detailed manner. Next one is that the statement, whatever that person is making, should be relevant to the rules of the Evidence Act. So the Rules of Evidence Act is quite large, and I will have to make another video about it. Not sure that I can cover all those in this video. So next one is the recorded element has to be kept safely, and it has to be kept in the official custody. That means when you're using that using that tape as evidence, it has to be kept under the official custody. So it's an evidence. So it's not something which can be casually messed around with. And then the voice of the speaker must be clearly audible, and it should not be lost or distorted or by any other kind of sounds or disturbances. This I have already covered before. So these are like a little bit elements which you have to bear in mind when you're making. First thing is make sure that the person is addressed. Second thing, make sure that the tape is not like cut and copied like that. Don't make like 10 tapes and then join them together. No, make sure that the entire conversation is in one tape. And next is it should not be, the voice should not be distorted, or it should be clear and audible. So nowadays we have a lot of the technological advancement where the voices are pretty much clear, but you have to make sure that sometimes it so happens that If it's not in the clear open air or something, the voices will get muffled and the voices will get distorted. So that cannot be used as evidence. If you are taking that kind of tape, make sure that you get it checked by a lawyer or advocate who will verify that it's even admissible before you even file the case. Okay. Otherwise, if that evidence is not even whatever you have collected, the piece of evidence is not even admissible in the court of law, then it's really waste of time. And I really hate when people lose a lot of money on this, especially because they are already suffered a lot by this anti-social elements like bribery and corruption, and upon that, even if it fails in the court, it's kind of like a helpless situation, and for anyone actually. So even before you even go ahead, make sure that the evidence is even admissible. Get it checked before you file the case. Sometimes it so happens that why a lawyer or advocate is very important before you file the case is they're the third party, learned party who will ground you down, because many times victims suffer through something called as agitation and anger, and they are not in the rational mind to take judgment. And this is the reason why a third learned counsel is very important, and especially the legal counsel is very important before you take any step, or else you will just feel dejected and you will feel helpless, and you will blame the judicial system actually at the end. But what we have to understand is that the entire judiciary and law is meant to protect the people, not hamper in any way. And they have to be really impartial. They are not like they are favoring the police or anything, but the law is law, right? It is not at the discretion of the judge. Sometimes the evidence itself is not admissible, that the hands of the judge is tied down, but to rule that it's not acceptable. So this is what I wanted to talk about in nutshell about recorded tapes and evidence as a evidence to any kind of civil or criminal proceedings. So these are the things which I want you all to take in mind. And second thing is, always it's better to have another evidence which is pointing towards it along with the tape, because many times it's very easy to get for the defense or for the other advocate to make it inadmissible. Okay, so because some of the things cannot be taken care of, but if you have a piece of evidence which is completely clear and which is identifying the maker, which is identifying the other person, which is like entirely, if it is admissible in the court of law, then definitely you don't have anything to worry about. You can go ahead and fight your battle, and any other learned legal counsel will be able to help you through the journey, and especially when you are not able to think rationally or legally, will be able to help safeguard with the entire legal proceedings. Because another thing what you have to remember is that in these kind of cases, defamation, the other person, if it fails and if this catches public eye, then the other person may file a defamation case on you also. So that thing I want to take in mind, especially when it's in sensitive matters, then there is a chance of that. So hope I'm clear with all this, and law is vast. I cannot really cover everything in a short 10-minute or 15-minute video, but I try my level best to make it more simplified for common man. And if you have not subscribed my channel, please do. I do come up with these kind of videos where it's enlightening you about our legal scenarios. And if you have any specific queries in mind which you want me to make the video about in my next video, please put it in the comment section below. I am looking at it. I may not respond to it, but I will definitely keep it in mind and make sure that I will cover that in the next video. Hopefully you all had a good day, and I'll wish you all the best. See you, and stay legally safe. Bye.